erase the list?
No, don't even worry about that. So I go to one of our stats, yes?
Yeah.
Press enter. There, it's done. That's all our stats.
Mine doesn't work.
Can I see? Oh, it might be that stat bug. Hang on, let me see this.
So, one more stats.
Yes, let me fix that. It's a bug. I can turn it off. Be gone bug. There we go. So now when you go to stat calc, I just turned the stat wizard off. I don't know if they call it a wizard. There's nothing good.
So now it'll work.
Now it'll work every time. Yeah,
Okay.
you got it, sister. Absolutely. I've been slowly catching you guys with the 84s. It's a bug they didn't take out of one operating system.
This is the older one then?
I don't know what old means anymore, honestly.
Okay.
Other than me, I am. But I'm not sure when it comes to 84 what an old version is. I've been catching you guys one by one and fixing that, so we're good.
So where's the bar stats?
Oh, under stat. Over to calc. Right there.
Oh,
Yep.
okay.
I did. It's one of those things. It's like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. It's like it's just we haven't used it since we did the Facebook data, and we ignored it on the Facebook data because the data was so skewed. Now I want to look at some of the measures so we can clearly see the average number of states we have been to
15.
is 15. Yes. Average number is 15. Look at the graph real quick. Look at the graph. This is 0, excuse me. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, and so forth and so on, EN 41. Okay, so the balance point is 15.3, so the balance point of the curve is right about there. Okay? That to me might be a smidge misleading. A smidge! Do you see why I'm saying a smidge? The hump of the curve is over here. Say that again. The cookies are going to fall. I love that. The cookies are going to fall if I put my finger there. Ian's cookie pulls us over to that side, right? I gotta move my finger to the right a smidge, maybe 3-4 states. But I gotta move it over to get away from that mode towards the average. That's when I start concerning myself, maybe I shouldn't use the average for this data because the average might be unusually high because Ian has to take his 41 states and spread them out to make sure we all get the 15. This is just my opinion. If you say this isn't skewed, then I'm happy with that. But if you say it is skewed, that's something to concern yourself with. If you don't want to use that, you probably don't want to use that either, right? Mm-hmm. Because they're tied together. So you want to watch that if you think you have skewed data. This is why I often I will have you guys write more and more. What do you think? What, in your opinion, what do you think? I know that drives you nuts sometimes. I want X to equal 2. No, it doesn't. What do you think? So, what I want you guys to do now, go down. Oh, I gotta run it again, sorry. So just arrow down, because there's more goodies at the bottom. There's more goodies down here, yes. Yeah, there's more goodies down here. Now some of these you know what they are already. Or at least you can figure it out, correct? You know, for example, that the min x is TIEs for telling you that the smallest number in the data set was 5. Max x is TIEs for the biggest number in the data set is 41. Median 13 is a fancy way of telling you
That's the middle.
that's the good geographic middle. So you already know that the minimum, you know what that is. You know what the maximum is. Now I want to go back to this. Did I spell that right? Yes. The median. Which percentile was the median again? Do you remember?
13?
Well, that's the value of it. But what percentile is it? Well, technically speaking, if it's the middle, it divides the top half from the bottom half, right? So technically speaking, it should be the 50th. I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying, Riley. You're saying 56 because we calculated to be 56, didn't we? We're going with pure middle. If we took all the data points and put them and they did the cross, that's what the TI is doing. Now, your concern is well versed because on a small data set, they won't always be perfectly in agreement with each other. I promise you that. And you're seeing it right now, yes? But just get in the habit of calling the median the 50th percentile. Just get in the habit of calling it that. I know on small data sets we get erratic behavior like this. That's because the margin of error are too big. Don't worry about that. I love what you're saying. I think it's fantastic. Don't sweat that though. In general, think of the median as the 50th percentile. Why? Because it's the number that cuts the bottom half of the data from the top half of the data. Is that okay? Please, David.
I was one of the ones that had 13.
Yes, and we were 56, weren't we? Or 46 or something like that.
43%.
43. Oh, you were 13. You were 13 as well, Riley?
Yeah, I got 43% as well.
Oh, you're 25. Okay, so 46%. Is that what you said?
43.
43, which is pretty far away from 50.
That's because you have to think about there's two 13s there that you can't count.
Weren't there 3 13s? Oh, there are 2 13s. Think about that. Each of you guys makes up 4% of the overall data set. So you're 4%, and who's my other 13 state visitor? Who else visited 13 states? They left, they had enough. That's okay. Somebody else visited 13 states.
Oh, I did.
That's okay, Scotty, it's all good. You guys represent 8% of the overall data set. If you add 8 to 43, you cross through 50. Margin of error is too big because you guys are just a small sample. That's all I'm getting at, Riley. That's all I'm getting at. So I'm not saying that this will always be mathematically perfectly equal to the 50th percentile, but on average over time, it is. Sometimes it's up, sometimes it's down. Right now, it's a little down. Is that fair? Mm-hmm. Is that fair? Okay. Now, before I kick you out of here, because we're getting close. We're getting close, I promise. What are these? Q1, Q3. Corey, what's on your mind?
Like maybe 25, a quarter.
The Q, it's exactly what it is, friend. P25 is the same as Q1, which Michelle's going to ask me, that's great, what does Q stand for? And it stands for quartile. This is the, yes, it cuts the data into quarters versus hundredths. Because what the percentiles do is they cut the data up into 100 little boxes. What the quartiles do is cut the data up into 4 little boxes. Well, I shouldn't say little, they're bigger than the percentile boxes. I want to come back to this on Monday, because it's definitely, I don't want to teach in 5 minutes and then let it go. But Q1 is called the lower quartile or the first quartile. So what does that mean? What does that 10 mean? If our lower quartile is 10,
Are there 10
Does that mean
people?
the-
There are 10 data points in that the lowest quartile?
that's a good, Alicia says there are 10 data points in that lowest quartile. Riley, what's on your mind?
Does that mean it's like the average of the lower?
Let me ask a question. Oh, it's off. Let me ask a question. 5 what?
5 states.
5 states. 41 what?
States.
13 what?
States.
10 what?
States.
Yes, it's a number of states. What characteristic does that number have?
So a quarter of the states.
A quarter of the people in this room
Visited 10 states.
have been to fewer than 10 states. Remember what a percentile is. Remember what a percentile is. A percentile is a percent you exceed. So if you've been to 10 states, you've been to more than 25% of the class has. If you've been to 21 states,
75%.
you've been to more than 75% of the class. That's why this guy here is called the upper or third quartile. That's spelled right. Technically speaking, the median is a quartile. Technically, nobody ever calls it that, but it's the second quartile.
So it's like,
In the middle.
It's because it's the halfway point. Because you've been to more states than half the class, which would be 2 quarters. Please, Trinity.
You said the Q1 is a quartile of, wait, a quarter of the people in this class.
Have been to fewer than that number of states,
Okay.
and 3 quarters have been to fewer than this number. 3 quarters. We'll revisit this again. Don't lose that data, okay? Leave that data in your machines. We'll come back. I wanted to make sure we at least left with that. We'll revisit that because it's easier to see graphically. We'll do that first thing on Monday. Cool? All right, you guys rock. Have a good weekend.